Jeez, it's loud. Cristina DiGiacomo, happy to have you back here today.
Thanks for having me back. I really appreciate it.
Oh, sure. No worries. No worries. So, Christina is another in the growing list of two-time interviewees we've had here on the Making Sales Social podcast. Last time she was here, she spoke on philosophy and leadership. This time, though, we're adding a layer that's hot, hot, hot in today's world: AI and philosophy. Christina is known as an AI philosopher, the creator of the 10 plus 1 commandments of human AI coexistence, and someone who doesn't just talk about AI, she talks to it. We're going to explore what that means and why leaders need to think about AI, not just technically, but guess what? Philosophically. With that, Christina, welcome once again to the Social Sales Inc. virtual studios in the Making Sales Social podcast.
Hi, Bob. Hi, everyone.
So great to have you back here today. So when you were last here, Christina, you talked about, typical conversations that people have every day, truth, wisdom, philosophy. We all talk about that stuff all the time. And especially when it comes to how philosophy can help leaders cut through complexity. So let's take those same principles and apply them to AI, especially because now that AI is not only in the mix, but it's becoming more and more one of the main ingredients of that mix.
So, philosophy encourages us to ask why or why not.
Hmm.
It encourages us to have deeper conversations. It's just really about a depth of understanding of a situation, of another person, of what's happening, and trying to make sense of it.
Hmm.
So, in the AI space, what I've been hearing a lot from, I interact with chief AI officers, chief information security officers, and creators and developers. And what I'm hearing a lot from them is that they are so desperate to have these philosophical conversations, and that these conversations are absent a lot of times in the process of developing or creating these AI platforms, these AI tools, whether it's healthcare, finance, any sort of vertical. And where I think philosophy can be really useful is the part of the process before anything gets made, which
Hmm.
is really having the conversation with the team about what are we building? Why are we building it? What happens when it hits people and it actually encounters real, true human behavior? What is the human behavior? What, all of those questions. And, engineers are telling me engineers are really good at executing. But what we really also need is that wisdom, philosophical side of things, to help support innovation, to help support and make sure that we're building the right things in the right way.
And when engineers start talking about philosophy, you definitely know that there's most definitely something there. And that's not a slam on engineers either. I love engineers. But I mean, I think that that just shows that it's a real fundamental thing that everyone throughout the org should be talking about, should be really focused on, as well as researching all these AI tools and what they can and cannot do and things like that.
Exactly. Um, you know, what I've been studying and practicing philosophy for 14 years. I've been teaching it to business leaders for about 6 years. And what I've found really surprising is so many people are closet philosophers. Now, this does not surprise me because we're
Mhm.
all philosophical.
Yeah.
We ask big questions of ourselves and our lives and all the time. So
Yep.
it's no surprise. I mean, that is really a human trait that we ask questions about ourselves. So it's not surprising, but also at the same time, it kind of is, because there's this perception that being philosophical is sort of a separate thing from just being a human being. So what's lovely in this past 6 years has been, and especially now since I'm really interacting with people in the AI space, is they're all like, oh well, I really like this philosopher and I like that philosopher, and yeah, I think about this stuff. And so it's almost like I'm giving people permission to come out of the woodwork of like being no longer being a closet philosopher. But yeah, people are really interested in having deeper conversations about the work that they do.
What are since our audience is a little more sales focused, do you interact a lot with sales specifically in your travels with all this stuff, and what are they saying about philosophies?
So, yeah, actually, I do. And what's interesting is the mode of a salesperson is really the discoverer, I guess, is a process of learning and understanding the customer or the target consumer, and that is a deeply philosophical practice. So when
Hmm.
I actually talk to salespeople and work with them on how what their process is,
Hmm.
I shared with them, for example, like how to actually have a dialogue, or like following the Socratic dialectic. They're like, wow, I didn't realize that's what I do. But now that I know, I'm going to sharpen it. Like I'm going to, there's some things that I could do better. And so it's really interesting. Salespeople, I don't think, give themselves enough credit for
Hmm.
being actually students of human behavior. And that is actually a very philosophical endeavor. I mean, that's kind of what philosophy is all about, is trying to understand not only your own nature, but the nature of others.
Yeah, that's interest. That's really interesting. And then applying that to AI is AI isn't necessarily it's not necessarily philosophical. God, I can't even talk this morning. Philosophical in and of itself, because especially because you've emphasized that AI is neutral. It's the people behind it who make the choices. So when it comes to that, how should leaders confront that responsibility in the boardroom? How should sales leaders um, uh, address that with their salespeople who are philosophers?
So I think the first thing to do is acknowledge that it's your responsibility.
Hmm.
That's where I think, because of our nature, people fall short. Like they talk about AI as if it's this separate thing.
Hmm.
And and it's normal. Like as human beings, we have a blind spot. And our blind spot is that we don't include ourselves in the mix, as you say, that we
Hmm.
are one of the main ingredients. We're like, you put the olive oil in the pan first. That's us, basically.
Right.
We're like
Yeah,
the
I like that.
foundation for everything. And
Yep.
so even acknowledging that, I think, sparks a mindset and a process that that can help fuel the conversations around how you're using AI, in what capacity, what is its effect on the sales team, what is its effect on your target audience or your customers. And I think, and knowing that you're the one who is making all of these decisions and it falls on you no matter what happens, I think is really hard for people to acknowledge and embrace, but also I think they understand that it is absolutely necessary. And then when it comes to the idea of philosophy, I tend to be pretty careful when it comes to interacting with key stakeholders or any conversation about philosophy in the workplace, because I think people have these presuppositions about it.
Yeah.
And I try to break all of that down and focus more on, you already know this stuff. I'm just trying to draw this out and give you a mental model that you can kind of like fall back on to help refine what it is that you're doing. So I guess, I sort of say to people who want to have philosophical conversations in their companies, I say the first thing you do about having a philosophical conversation in your company is you don't talk about philosophy. Um, so
The first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club.
Fight Club, exactly. That's, you got it. You got it, Bob.
That's so funny. That's so funny. I one thing that I drew out from what you said is having humans as the foundation, and I think it's to the point where humans need to stay in the mix no matter what level AI is being implemented. So you start hearing about, AI as customer service, and there is never any human interaction involved at all. There's something going on at LinkedIn right now, which, while we don't have confirmation of this, it seems that AI is actually having a big hand in shutting down accounts of people who are doing bad, naughty things. And some are actually bad, naughty things, but there's never a human involved, and you can't get in touch with a human in case, you haven't done anything yet. AI has detected that it's shut down, and AI made the decision without any humans involved. I think that all that speaks very highly to humans still needing to be involved no matter what level, high up right down to, simple customer service. No such thing as simple customer service, but, customer service types of jobs as well. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. So here's what I think might be happening. So let me just, this is a hypothesis.
Yes.
This is a,
Understood. Yeah.
this is, and so what I think might be happening, because what I'm seeing a lot is in the strategy in this of where are we going to invest in AI tools in our company. The approach is a blanket, what are the most mundane heavy lift mundane and heavy lift type of activities in the organization. Let's put
Hmm.
all of that on the table and then AIify it. The problem,
Yep.
I think I'm going to trademark that. Like,
Yeah, you should. That's
um,
great.
so the problem with that approach or that philosophy is that there may be things that are mundane and a heavy lift, but are really important to have sort of a person involved, right? So customer service is probably one of those areas. But because the approach is, let's create efficiencies in areas that we deem are mundane internally to the organization,
Hmm.
um, those are the things that are getting AIified without any sort of thought as to, does this have an impact on our end user or our customer or our consumer? And LinkedIn, the story is still being written with this decision, right?
Yeah.
And the point though that I'm making is to even just think about this
Hmm.
first. Like, is it going to be okay with people um who are negatively impacted by this efficiency? What is it going to do? Is there going to be reputational damage? Now, the thing about it too is LinkedIn has kind of a hold on the sort of professional networking platform space,
Yep.
but there are companies that are also in the space. And so they have to weigh how much reputational damage are we going to incur by pissing people off because we used AI to shut them down and they can't talk to a person, versus these other companies. And right now, LinkedIn is in a very strong market position
Yes,
for
without a
that.
doubt.
So, but I think that the approach of like, let's just eradicate every single low level operation, without thinking about its potential impact to the end user and what sort of problems we're going to have in that regard. That's a conversation that has to be had. So it may not always be, just because it's mundane or a heavy lift internally, that it's the right thing to do to create an AI efficiency around it.
Yeah. 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 I definitely agree with that. Um, so let's get into the whole thing about I don't talk about AI, I talk to it. Okay. So, first of all, what the heck does that mean? And second, how does it change the way leaders should think about AI?
So what I'm trying to suggest is a real partnership with AI and every person and everything that kind of coexists around it.
Hmm.
Um, and I have a certain set of rules. I wrote rules around this called the 10+1,
Right.
that are really about who we are as people and what we are doing to AI and what we are doing with it. So when I say I talk to it, it means that I respect it as a technology and I
Mhm.
respect the power of this technology and what it is capable of. And then also, as far as I'm concerned, I'm also respecting who do I need to be in order to wield this technology in whatever way I choose to wield it. I don't talk about AI as if it's just this separate thing, which I think is
Right.
really one of the downsides of the current narrative around AI. Because again, there's that blind spot. So when I say I talk to it, it means I'm including myself in the conversation and the impact and the use of AI.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really important, especially because when, like for example, when I tend to use AI, and I tell this to, all the people with whom we consult and train and coach and things like that. Even at the prompting level, without getting into all of the high level stuff, when you are in that chat with AI, you are talking to AI. You are having a true conversation with it, just like it's another person. Although we know it's not an actual person, it can do a lot of stuff that people can do. And because it is AI and it has access to, data and information at like just an absolute staggering amount. Um, when you have a conversation with it, not only are you able to pull things out of AI, AI can even surface things for you that you're not seeing. And that's hot when that happens because it's like a lightning bolt moment. And that's just at the prompting level. I can't imagine what it's like, because you deal with it at the boardroom level and everything else too. So I mean, that's just got to be amazing.
It is, and also at the same time, I am always surprised at how reckless um people are talking about it. Like, and the sense that there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation about it. Um
Like
and
what?
so so for example, the idea um that it's going to take everybody's job, right?
Yeah.
So, um, first of all, the question is not necessarily about displacement. The question is now, really, we are in a marketplace where every single business is struggling to survive.
Yeah.
And there's a technology that enables companies to survive.
Hmm.
And I'm not talking about like, I'm talking about like Fiverr, for example, just laid off 30% of its workforce,
Yeah.
because they wanted the media is reporting that they just want to be an AI company. That's not true. They want people that are working for them to be AI forward. And so they reduced their workforce because they saw that there was no way for that particular role to be AIified for or upskilled for that particular worker. And so they did have to lay people off, but that's survival for a company like Fiverr. I'm not talking about billion trillion dollar companies or whatever. I'm just
Right.
talking about small to medium sized businesses, maybe 1,000 seats, 2,000 seats, who are now struggling to even be profitable. And
Hmm.
so, what people don't seem to understand is that it's not AI, it's not the business leader, it's the bottom line because of the marketplace that we're in, which is highly competitive. It's really hard to get money from people these days because of economic forces and economic factors. And so, the whole idea that AI is taking your job is
Hmm.
a bit disingenuous because it's not AI that's taking your job. It's the
Right.
market forces, and it's the fact that businesses are having a really hard time getting a profitable piece of the pie from the marketplace. This also goes for salespeople. It's
Hmm.
probably gotten a lot harder to sell. And so for salespeople, I think my advice to them in this kind of AI driven market economy is to present or prove that your role is continuing to benefit the bottom line and that it's important to keep you around. But the other thing that's really important for everyone is to let go of the notion that you're not going to work in an environment where there isn't AI. Unless you're a carpenter, great. But for the
Right.
most part, knowledge workers need to get on it, and they need to upskill. And there's so many free courses out there. Like, this is what bothers me. I'm sorry, I'm on a rant, but Bob, this is what
Right
bothers me
away.
so much about the fear mongering, because what it's done is it's paralyzed people. It's
Yeah.
terrified people and paralyzed people to inaction. And so they're not going and taking a course. They're not going and trying to understand this technology. They're not upskilling. They're not leveling up. They're not actually managing their career for this technical revolution. And so they're getting left behind, but they're blaming AI. It's not AI.
Right.
Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It just reminds me of a phrase that I'm sure that you've heard and some people have probably heard is that, AI isn't necessarily going to take your job, but someone who knows AI is probably going to take your job.
Yeah, and so when have we ever had in their entire industrial revolution and post-industrial revolution, have we ever not had a situation where someone was smarter, faster, more capable? Like, this is not news. And people
Yeah,
are treating their careers and their acquisition of knowledge as if like this is a new thing. It's not. It's always been that way, in especially with knowledge workers, and
right.
factory. Every worker has always
Yeah.
had these external forces being placed on them and forging their careers and influencing the choices that they make.
Yeah, I mean, ask people, way back when in the buggy whip industry when automobiles took over.
Yeah, they either had to start working at the car factory or become drivers, or they had to evolve.
Yep.
And this is not to say that I'm not sympathetic,
Oh yeah, no,
because
percent.
I am totally sympathetic. This came out of left field, like crazy. And so I totally understand people like being deer in the headlights,
Yeah.
and and I totally get it.
Yeah.
I've been laid off multiple times. Like, I know how
Yeah.
hard and it is and how much it hurts.
Yeah.
But now is not the time to just be like, oh well, I'm just gonna continue to stay in the same place. Don't.
Grow. People need to grow with this. And the funny and kind of ironic thing is AI can actually help you grow too.
Exactly. No, let me give you a good
Yeah.
example. I'm going to
Yeah,
give you a good
please.
example. I know there's a lovely, lovely young woman who's actually in my AI mastermind,
Mhm.
who um works at a media company,
Mhm.
and she works with the salespeople at the media
Mhm.
company. She didn't go to college. She only has a high school degree. She started as like a media salesperson. She
Mhm.
started getting really interested in what was happening with AI. She embraced it. And now she's like the head of AI for all the sales teams in this media company. And this
Wow.
is someone who, for a while, she didn't think that she had, she was really trying to figure out her trajectory. And
Mhm.
now she's the head of AI for all the salespeople at this media company, and running her own AI networking groups. And so to me, she's like the perfect example of someone who does not have a traditional educational path and
Mhm.
is thriving in this environment. So if she can do it, anyone can do it.
Right. They just need to they just need to get on board. And I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to be in that deer in headlights thing. I mean, especially as AI seems so overwhelming, and it can be if you don't know how to use it. But if you do know how to use it, if you do know how to talk to a prompt, however you want to put it, you can get some really, really good stuff, for lack of a better term, out of it that can be truly helpful for you.
Yeah. And I mean, really the I think the biggest hurdle for people is just like, as with any new technology. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, remember when the internet came out?
Oh,
Remember when
and
email came out? Remember when websites or building
yeah,
websites and all of
yeah.
that? People were like, this looks hard. And
Look at us now.
look at us now. And so I encourage people to just start using like ChatGPT for like their regular everyday life, for like recipes or whatever, just to like get over the fear of
Yeah,
using it if you're not using it.
yeah. Start simple. I like that actually. Start simple.
Yeah, start simple and start relevant,
Yeah,
meaning
relevant
something in
too.
your
Yeah.
life, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you'll learn how to do things from there. So let's get back to AI and philosophy for just a minute, because we had a pre-show conversation where we touched on a great question. So that's, if Socrates were alive today, what questions would he ask an AI before deciding to trust it? Which is doubly interesting because that question actually came from the prep I do with AI. So AI actually came up with that question for itself, which is wild in and of itself. But I liked what you said during our pre-show convo, which was you had said his first question would be, "What is wisdom?" Can you expand on that and why that matters in our AI age nowadays?
Yeah. So first of all, Socrates is like my BFF. Okay. Um, and if I know him, he would ask, what is wisdom? Because this is what he did in his life. Like, this is,
Mhm.
he went around and he asked people, what is wisdom? Got him in trouble. But
Oh, yeah.
this was his essential question,
Mhm.
that he, um, sorry, I have a little cough.
No worries.
um,
Do you need to drink something?
I think I need just a glass of water.
Yeah.
So sorry. I'll be
Yeah,
right
no,
back.
go yeah. Yeah, no, go ahead. We'll edit all this out. Don't worry about that. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep this rolling. Uh, Clarice, just go ahead and just edit this stuff out.
Sorry, I had another podcast interview right before this one,
Oh,
so
wow. Oh, so you're just, like, talking up a
I've just
storm.
been talking, so I just need a second.
Yeah, no worries at all. That's why we record these things.
Um, okay, back on. So this was what he was looking for all his life, was the answer to what is wisdom. And I think that it's so poignant for him to ask this question of AI, because we are not teaching AI what wisdom is.
Mhm.
And it only knows what wisdom is based on what it's learned in the compendium of ideas and thoughts for the past, 2,500 years or so of what wisdom is. But to be able for Socrates to ask the AI, what is wisdom? And he would want the AI to give its own opinion,
Mhm.
right? Which it probably can't, because it has no moral agency. It has no understanding or experience of what wisdom is, because wisdom is very experiential. And um, so I think it would just be a wonderful moment. And then I think through a dialogue, which is basically the format of, for example, ChatGPT. It's a dialogue, which he would love because he created the idea, and the format of the dialectic, right? And so
Mhm.
I just think he would be absolutely fascinated. You wouldn't be able to get him away from the computer for like days.
Yeah.
He just that would be the interaction for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I just typed this into ChatGPT. I probably should have. Okay, so it's thinking. So I'm using ChatGPT, the deep thinking model, defining wisdom, exploring wisdom. Maybe I shouldn't have used the deep thinking one. What is wisdom? Uh, yeah, so it's giving definition. What do I think wisdom is? So my prompt was, and in its entirety, a very simple one. Let's do a thought experiment. I am Socrates, and I have a question for you, Chat GPT. What is wisdom, and what do you think wisdom is? So let's go down to what do I think wisdom is? I think of wisdom as a discipline and a feedback loop. Clarify your aim, the good that you're pursuing, test your map, epistemic
Mhm.
epistemic humility, seek disconfirming evidence, choose a measured move, prudence, review consequences, learn, find, and repeat. And when in doubt, I'd apply 5 quick Socratic tests to any decision. What do I truly know here, and how could I be wrong? What value am I serving? Would I stand by it in public? Who else is effective, and how might they see it? What are the second order effects in a year? If advising a friend, would I give the same counsel? If a choice survives those questions, it's trending wise. If not, the Elenchus? Elenchus. It's throwing philosophy words at me that I've either never heard or it's been forever since I've heard them. The Elenchus invites another round.
So what do you think about that response?
Oh my God. I think that it's spitting out without really thinking and considering. I think is probably it's a very Chat GPT answer to ask it to really think about something. I think it's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you also said the operative word. It was very academic,
Yeah.
because that's what it's pulling from,
Yep.
right? To answer that question.
Yep.
But you're not getting a sense of what it really thinks or what its experience of wisdom really is.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's just where the AI is in its evolution. But
Hmm.
you can see that it's not a very human answer.
Right.
When I also teach philosophy classes.
Hmm.
So I ask students the question, what does it mean to be a wise person? And the answers that come back are very personal, and
Yeah.
they're very like what that person has experienced in terms of their interactions with a wise person. And the answers are, oh well, they're open minded and they're thoughtful, or they listen, or it, like all these sort of characteristics of a wise person, or what wisdom really is. They do not talk about epistemics. They
Yeah.
don't, that so that's just an interesting exercise and kind of proof that AI has not developed the language or the acumen to be able to express what wisdom is, um,
Hmm.
in any sort of relatable or human form, because it hasn't learned what it is in a relatable human form.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Quick side question. What is epistemic for those of us who don't know?
To be honest with you, I'm not a theoretical or academic philosopher.
Okay.
So
All right.
so epistemology is basically the not like, how do we know things? It's
Oh,
a branch of philosophy. Epistemology is a branch of
okay.
philosophy that is really around the thinking about how do we know what is knowledge, how do we know things.
Hmm.
So epistemic is basically just a like epistemology is the root word of epistemic.
Yeah. Okay. That that sounds good, and it also sounds like another podcast episode in and of itself. So we'll just be gracious and move on from
We're
that
just going to move
with
on.
do you think it's possible or even desirable to teach AI wisdom?
Oh yeah, I think it's critical. I think it's
Mhm.
absolutely critical to teach it wisdom, um, and thoughtfulness, and to be able to weigh consequences. To, I mean, I think it's, I mean, that's what my work is primarily about, is
Mhm.
around what are the principles and values we need to hold in order to teach AI well. And one of the things is to not make arbitrary decisions that may seem correct, right? But
Yeah.
are not wise. Very similar to what you were talking about LinkedIn, what we were talking about LinkedIn. On paper, the approach seems to be correct and logical. Is
Mhm.
it wise? That
Right.
remains to be seen.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Could not agree with that more. And it actually spins right into my next question because I do want to talk about your 10 plus 1 commandments of human AI coexistence, which we'll have this in the show notes, but you can actually find those at 10 plus 1.ai. So tell me what what the heck led to you doing this? Because this sounds like a project.
Yeah, I think, it's funny. It is a project. Um, I also think it's my life's work. I think
Mm,
everything has led to this.
wow.
My 25 years in corporate and digital interactive and the tech space, 14 years of study and practice in philosophy and teaching
Sure.
philosophy, um, and a passion for AI. And what led me to this was just a eureka moment,
Hmm.
because I was getting really frustrated that, we were about a year into AI being mass market. Um, and I was hungry for guidance, and hungry for a conceptual or framework that felt accessible to me.
Mhm.
And all of the people that I looked up to or thought were experts or leaders in this space all had very conflicting, like diametrically opposed opinions about AI. And that's wonderful. I think that variety of thinking is really important. But the way it was being expressed, I think was causing a lot of confusion. I think was causing a lot of angst. And quite frankly, I think it was also scaring people.
Yeah.
And so there was just this buildup of like, we need something. We need
Mhm.
something. I don't know what it is, but we need something. And then I realized, like, wait, we have not had a set of commandments
Mm.
uh for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And the commandments that we have, and when I say commandments, I don't necessarily, I'm not religious. I don't mean it to be
Right.
biblical, but most of the, in every single tradition, whether it's the Dharma, the Eightfold Path, Aristotle's virtues, most of these, I mean, we've had these for millennia, but there hasn't really been anything new. And now we're in a situation where we have this really powerful technology that could completely change everything. It might be time to have a new set of commandments. And
Yep.
so that's how it started. And then I had to really think about, like, who are the commandments for? Like, what's the perspective? What's my thesis here? And
Mhm.
so I decided, I'm like, this has to be about us. These commandments have to be about us, our character, our behavior, how we're treating AI, what we're doing to it, and what we're doing with
Right.
it. And so that's how the 10+1 came about. I was like, well, um, I can't use 10 commandments because I don't know how God feels about copyright
Yeah,
infringement.
exactly.
So
That would be
let
a
me
heck
just
of a
add a
lawsuit.
+1 to it and see how it goes. I'm sure, the universe or God or whatever deity
Mm.
you worship or don't worship or whatever wouldn't mind.
Right.
So that's how the 10+1 started.
Okay. So this is yet another one of those things where we could probably do a show entirely on each of the commandments. You can see them at 10+1.ai. So that's the number 10, the word one. I'm sorry, the number 10, the word plus, and then the number one dot AI. And again, those will be in the show notes if you just want to click through uh, to that. But I guess just probably the one question that I think that we can nail here is which of the commandments tends to surprise or challenge leaders the most when you introduce it?
Oh, well, that would be number 2, which is do not destroy to advance.
Oh,
So, first of all, that's not the one they struggle with.
okay.
The one they struggle with is number 1, which is
Mhm.
own AI's outcomes. And that's because of that blind spot. The
Yeah.
blind spot of you're part of the formula of consequences,
Yep.
right? That one they can't even get out of the gate on that one. But the one that I get the most, like the strongest reaction, is do not destroy to advance. And the reason for that is um CAIOs and engineers think that what I'm saying is that we shouldn't be disrupting anything. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
Destruction is the removal of something such that we will never get that back.
Right.
I'm not talking about disruption, which contains the
Yes.
original knowledge of a thing that, and it's evolved into something better or it's evolved
Hmm.
into something else, but still contains that original intelligence.
Right.
I'm talking about ecosystems being destroyed that we will never get back,
Hmm.
cultures that may be destroyed that we will never get back, right?
Yeah.
Ideas or knowledge that we will destroy that we will never get back. That's what I mean by do not destroy to advance. Also,
Yeah.
don't kill people, okay?
Well,
Like,
yeah,
I
that's
mean,
yeah,
you know what I
that's
mean?
bad. That's
But,
never good.
but so but that one causes so much, like, I don't even finish saying "do not destroy to advance" when I'm getting pounced on. "What do you mean by that? What do you mean? We have to be disruptive." And to me, that's actually telling of a professional socialization in Silicon Valley that is all about, we have to disrupt everything, disrupt, break things. And it's like, okay, as long as you're like bringing everybody along for the ride and
Yeah,
you're asking the question, are we destroying something that we will never get back? And if we don't get it back, are we okay with it? Will
yeah.
people be okay with it? Like, that's the question that needs to be happening in the boardroom. But I get the strongest reaction about that one.
I can I can only imagine. I can to be a fly on the wall in those situations, that would be something, and I think that lends pretty well to my last question for you, which is, you've said that AI comes to us at the best of times and the worst of us, which I think is just mind I mean, we've had so many mind-blowing moments already, but that's probably the one that blows my mind the most. What do you mean by it came to us at the best of times and the worst of us?
So it came at the best of time because we are so ripe for and needful of progress. Um, I think that we've been in some sort of weird digital dark ages for a while,
Mhm.
and maybe even social dark ages.
I
That's
go
more
probably.
the worst of us part of
Yeah.
it. But the best of, when I say the best of times, is I say it because it's such a wonderful time to have hope and progress and solve things and fix things, and we need it, right? We need a little extra help, right? So
Yes.
that's the best of times. The worst of us is we could not be more afflicted now, with uh division,
Yep.
and our minds are scrambled. um Human behavior right now is like out of control.
Yeah.
But also the worst of us in the sense of what AI is actually learning about us. So AI is being trained on anything that has been in the digital sphere for however long we've had a digital sphere, for the most
Right.
part. No one's, no, I mean, someone who's really intrepid and hardworking will scan a book, a hard copy
Yeah.
book, but no one's really doing that. So they're
Right.
all going, and it's learning off of the internet. And yes, maybe there's some scholarly articles and things like that, but for the most part, it's built on sand. Okay. We
Yeah.
have consistently been creating a decomposing, degenerative digital sphere and internet for decades.
Mm.
And it it expresses some of the most innovative things about us, but for the most part, some of our worst tendencies
Yeah.
are all dumped into the internet. So not
Yep.
only, and I'm just talking about the United States. I've been
Right.
to other countries where everything seems pretty okay and everybody seems pretty cool and like chill. But in the United States, which is where a lot of AI innovation is happening, it could not have entered into a more socially broken atmosphere. And that's what I
Yeah.
mean by the worst of us.
So what do we do? Oh my god. I mean, seriously.
Well, we start with ourselves.
Yeah.
We do what we can for, and trying to be good and trying to do the right thing. This is why
Yep.
I wrote the 10+1, because it's my um opening salvo to everyone who is in the AI space to do the right thing and be good. That's the best we can do. That's all we can control is ourselves. And if we can't control ourselves, you know, we're like, then what's the point? But I believe, so here's the thing about being an AI optimist, I have to be a human optimist too.
Yeah.
So as
You
much
bet.
as I say it came at at a time that's the worst of us, that doesn't mean that I've given up on us, because I have not
Right.
given up at all.
Good. Good.
And I think we have a future. I think it's positive. I think it could be amazing and incredible. It's going to be messy. It's going to be hard, but we have to step up now as human beings and really make a go of this in the best way possible. And that's really just where I'm coming from.
Amen. Amen. Could not agree with that more. We just need to get out there and really start doing it now. So, yeah, cool. So, let's start to wrap things up with and I normally do this with a one thing we can do right now type of takeaway for the audience. So, Christina DiGiacomo, if you could leave business and sales leaders with one philosophical principle they should carry with them as they make decisions about implementing AI throughout their orgs, what would that one thing be?
Set up a meeting, get everybody in the room, and ask, what are we doing here?
Wow. Wow. That's a very simple question that would be anything but simple in answers, but it's probably something a conversation that all businesses need to have about not just AI, but just about themselves in general, which I absolutely love that. So where can folks get in touch with you?
So I would really love it if people were to connect with me on LinkedIn.
Yep.
I post a lot there. And so that's really where I would love for people to find me.
Right. Yeah. So we will have that link in show notes as well as the 10 plus 1.ai link to get to that fascinating website. Like I said, we could do a series on that alone, I think, but that won't happen today. So, AI philosopher and creator of the aforementioned 10 plus 1 commandments of human AI coexistence, Christina DiGiacomo, thanks so much for joining us again today in the Social Sales Link virtual studios for this episode of Making Sales Social.
Thank you so much for having me. Bye, everyone.
Bye. And thank you for streaming this episode of Making Sales Social. So remember, when you're out and about this week and every week, be sure to make your sales social and don't be afraid of AI. Seriously, don't be afraid of AI. Bye bye.